Hello guys, welcome to this video. In this video I would like to discuss some recent realizations which I always say in at the beginning of many of my videos. Let me be honest, there are some of the things which I'll be discussing in this video are not entirely new, in the sense that I have discussed them in some of my previous videos as well. But in this video, yeah, I would like to talk about, give you a whole new perspective, overall whole new perspective. I'm not saying everything is new in this video. So, and don't worry, the lab behind me is not going to blow up. It's just a virtual background, as you know. Anyway, so, but yeah, this experimental setup, this lab and all this whatever you're seeing behind me in the background, is a very good manifestation of what happens when science and scientists interact, both positively and negatively. So that is what I'll be talking about in this video, science versus scientists. Okay, now there are a lot of, not a lot of, but there are at least three different aspects which I would like to cover in this video in some detail. First is science versus scientists. Sounds like a very interesting title, right? Now, is there science without scientists? And conversely, are there scientists without science? Now, this is a very kind of chicken egg questions. Which came first, the egg or the chicken? Now, my answer, I personally, what I believe is that there is science without scientists. Just that it's not in the form that we are familiar with. Of course, if there were no humans, no scientists and all, there would not be any equations, any computers, any theories or so. But science is an objective field. It's not a subjective field. Science would still be there. There would be no society without humans. But you cannot say there would be no science without scientists. There would be no science as we know it without scientists. But yeah, the converse question was, would there be scientists without science? See, this is where things get interesting. So, did scientists create science, or did science create scientists? I mean, is it because I think it's the latter. I think science created scientists. Let me show you. Let me tell you how. Of course, science is not a conscious being or something. I'm not talking about God. Science is not God, that He created humans and some of those humans went on to become scientists. No. When I say science created scientists, I mean there was some order and regularity in the world around us, and that is what motivated the early explorers, Galileo, Newton, or even before, Tycho Brahe, or even before, those early philosophers who slowly, and then that's when the field of science really began. Philosophy came before science, right? So there was some order in the world, there was some regularity in the world. I throw the ball and it falls down. If it was the case that Newton threw a ball and it fell down, but after 2 hours he threw the same ball under the same conditions and it went up, then Newton would not have even thought about formulating a scientific law of gravity, because there was no order, there was no regularity, there was nothing you can capture inside an equation, because it's totally random. But it was not totally random. The nature was not totally random, at least at the macroscopic level. Newton and all did not know about quantum mechanics, but at least when you observe nature, it's not entirely random, and that is what motivated humans to create a field called science and explore nature, and that has brought us to where we are today. So in that sense, yes, science created scientists, not the other way around. Scientists did not create science. Scientists only formulated science in a way that they can deal with, using mathematics and stuff. But that's the point. But the next point I would like to discuss with you is that, so I think, to be a successful scientist, actually to be a successful human being, this is applicable for everyone, regardless of whether they are scientists or not, but especially for scientists. I think to be a successful scientist, you need to resolve at least three levels of conflict, and this is in a chronological order. I mean, this is in a sequential order. You cannot skip to the next level without completely resolving the previous level. You can do that, but if you move to the next level without completely resolving the previous level, then problems are bound to crop up, and sometimes those problems will be enough to stop you, not just slow down your progress, but maybe even stop you entirely. I mean that. Now let me be more clear about what I'm talking about. So there are three levels of conflicts which you need to resolve: level 1, level 2, level 3, in this order, to become a successful scientist, to really address the challenges of science. Level 1, first is level 1. Level 1 is the conflict of you with you. I mean, it's a self conflict of your conflict with yourself. That's what I mean, level 1. By this I mean is that there are many internal conflicts that go on between us, inside us. Like, they may be emotional, they may be might have to do with some particular feeling, might have to do with some dilemma. Like in my case, I was in a dilemma whether to pursue quantum mechanics in my masters or nonlinear dynamics. It was a very great dilemma because I am very much interested in both, but of course you cannot specialize in both. And then there was also the point the issue of funding. Okay, so it was a very great dilemma, and I was for a moment I got accepted into good universities where both of these programs are like I had option A which was pretty good in non dynamics, and option B which is very good in quantum mechanics. So it was a very great dilemma, and this is a level 1 conflict because here I cannot expect others to help me. Of course I can share this with my friends. I don't have a lot of friends, lot of like real friends to be honest, but I do have a few, very few, so I can share this with them. I actually did share this with them. I talked about this with my parents, with my mentors, with my professors, with some of the people I know, like some of the experts in the field I know, and yeah, they were very helpful. They gave me their ideas, their inputs, their suggestions, but that's the best they can do. They cannot take the decision on my behalf because it's my life, it's my masters, it's not their masters. So what I will study in masters depends on me. So this is an internal conflict, self-fund conflict. And this is not the only type. Self-fund conflict can also be like I already said about something to do with emotions. Maybe you feel emotional about some particular thing, but you also know that this is not good. Like maybe you feel emotional about going out for your studies. You know you have to do that for a better future, but you are like very homesick. No, I don't want to go out, I want to stay with my parents. That's an internal conflict. You cannot really drag your parents into the issue, you cannot drag anyone into the issue, you have to resolve it yourself. It's your choice. I'm not saying you have to go out. If you think if you keep your short term closeness with your parents over your long term career, then you don't need to go outside. That's fine. That's also one possible resolution of the conflict. But if you want to think long term, no, I need to have a good source of income so that I can support my parents when they're even older. If you're ready to sacrifice this short term separation from my parents, then you have to go outside. Either way, it's your decision. You cannot cry, you cannot ask for sympathy, or you cannot ask for any help in this kind of thing. That's what I mean by level 1 conflict. Now once you have resolved all the level 1 conflicts in your life, that means you are at peace with yourself. Once you have achieved that level of peace with yourself, then you move to level 2. That is the next step, level 2 conflict. So level 1 was you with yourself. Level 2 is you with others. By this I mean, okay, so when you're in a lab or in some university or even in society in day-to-day life, you have to interact with a lot of humans, a lot of other people, whether you like it or not. So a lot of problems can arise there also, like workplace culture, workplace politics, jealousy, or like what happens, the usual, like jealousy between colleagues. Some people will try to like harm you, some people will be good also. Now these kind of conflicts, this is on a local level. And on a global level, if you amplify level 2 conflicts on a global level, that is war between countries, nuclear war, these threats. So that's a global level, but that's still a manifestation of the level 2 conflict. And this arises because of this current present generation. I already discussed this point, the point about the present generation being like wanting to escape from reality by sharing all those social media stories and like kind of amplifying a normal incident into a dramatic story, that kind of thing. I've already talked about this a lot, so I'll not talk about this in this video. But yeah, that's the point. Today's generation is very much that kind of, what I mean, right? And it's very like that is the reason I think that's why it's so much unrest in the society today, both at the local level and at the global level. Look around in your class, among your colleagues, you can see this. Look at the countries in the world, you can see the same behavior, same unrest, same competition mindset, same attacking mindset. Like nobody is ready to do peace talks. Of course, those things are just formalities, bilateral talks, peace talks, just on pen and paper. But deep down, everyone is nobody's really understanding. And I think this is a very important, because if your rival is not ready to understand your point, then even if you are willing to make peace, you cannot really afford to make peace. Understand my point? Suppose you don't want to go to war, you are a very peaceful country or a peaceful person for that matter, but your rival is like kind of trying to harm you, then you have no other option but to retaliate just for your self-defense. You cannot just sit and say, okay, just go and harm me. That's kind of self-destruction. That's kind of suicide, right? So this is level 2 conflict. Again, of course, things are a bit more complex here, because here being at peace with yourself is not enough. That was level 1. You also have to find some way of diplomatically dealing with everyone. you need not be friendly with everyone. That's not possible. I already released a video about diplomacy and quantum mechanics. Diplomacy is not about being friendly with everyone. Diplomacy is about weighing your alternatives, and diplomacy is about assuming everyone might turn against you. You cannot assume that he is my friend and she is my enemy. That is not diplomacy. That means you are working with some fixed notions in mind, and if the opposite turns out to be true, then you are gone. So that's not a good diplomatic viewpoint. Diplomacy means you have to assume that everyone can turn against you, and you have to plan your strategy in such a way that if A turns against you, then B will come and stand by your side for B's own benefit. I mean, you have to arrange your strategy in such a way that if A turns against you, it would indirectly also affect B. So then B would have no other option but to come and stand beside you. And the other way down, vice versa is also true. That's what I'm saying. So the point is, this is level 2. This is how you can deal with level 2 conflicts. You have to be diplomatic with everyone, not be friendly with everyone, but you have to be diplomatic with everyone. Now, once you have, and yeah, overall, not just that, diplomatic with everyone is okay. That is the first step. But overall, I think you should also try to spread this message of collaboration over competition and spread an optimistic mindset in people. This is very difficult to do. A single person cannot really bring about a significant change in the mindset of the world. But I think we should at least try, at least at our local level. Because if every one of us does do this at our local level, then I think this might bring about at least some change. Next is level 3 conflict, which is the ultimate level. And to focus on level 3 conflicts, you cannot have any distractions. That's what I believe. Yeah. So what I personally believe is that the guys who love physics or love science or any field for that matter, but the guys who are really devoted to their field, not the guys who do 9 to 5 jobs, corporate jobs just for some money. You will hear them complaining about work hours. Oh my God, why should I work on Saturday? Why should I work on Sunday? Because for them, work is just a mean to to have enough. I mean, just a mean to earn money. That's how they see work. I work because they pay me. They give me some salary. But they have a life outside work. They always look forward to the weekends, because in the weekends they probably party with friends or maybe go on some short trips. That is fine. I'm not saying that's fine. But the real scientists, or the people who are really devoted, even in science, not all professors are like this. There are many professors who are like, they look forward to the weekend and they just come to the college just for the salary, and they just barely do their duties, fulfill their responsibilities. So if you want to just be enough in your field, just do good enough in your field, this is fine. You don't need to think like this. But if you want to make some really significant contributions in your field, then I think this mindset is will not help you. In that case, I think you need to, apart from loving your own field is not enough. All the physicists love physics, but how many of them really end up doing something revolutionary in physics? Very few. So loving your field is not enough. Besides loving your field, you should also actively hate the other activities. Don't project your views on people. It's okay. Like in my case, I hate going out with friends. I hate partying. I hate, having a large friend circle and gossiping. I hate these kind of things. But I don't project my views on anyone. In YouTube, I'm sharing, that's fine. But most of the friends I'm talking about, they don't have time to watch YouTube videos. They'll probably watch some rubbish movie or something. And even if they watch, I don't care. But yeah, my point is, I don't want to just directly confront them and project my views on them, that I think this is a waste of time, so you should also not do that. No, that's not the thing. Their aspirations in life are different from my aspirations in life, so they're justified in that. They just want to just live a normal, ordinary life. So let them do that. From their point of view, they're right. But I don't want to be like them. That is why what I'm saying is that if you want to do something big, you have to grow this attitude that I will love my field with everything I have, and I will hate all other possible activities. Not just ignore, not just avoid, actively hate. By hate, I'm not saying you go to the social media and write hateful posts, or you just go to your friends and project your views on them. No, that's not what I'm saying. Leave them alone as they are and give yourself some space. But mentally you need to hate. Now, why this is important? Hatred is a negative emotion. I know that. But in this particular case, I think this is actually important. Let me tell you my logic. Because most of the people who are successful, they are not successful because of a single choice. Einstein is not successful because he chose physics. Einstein is successful because he not only chose physics, but he also actively sacrificed all the other possible choices. So behind every successful person, It's not just a single choice, it's also a conscious and complete rejection of all other possible choices. This is important. You understand my point? It's a conscious and complete rejection of all other possible choices. So if you're like, okay, I don't hate going around with friends, but let me avoid that because I need to focus on my work, I need to do something big. If this is your mindset, then you cannot do something big. You can maybe do some good work, okay, and every time you're avoiding that, but deep inside you still want to go out with them. You're just avoiding it. So the message that you are giving to your brain is, I'm avoiding that. So that means you want to be there, but you are consciously avoiding that. So that means it's a kind of compulsion. Compulsion can hardly give you good results, especially in fields like research and creativity. But if you're like, no, I hate that, I hate that, that means you have no other way. You will not go with them. I mean, inwardly it's a decision of yours that no, I hate that. Again, you will not project your views on anyone else, but that's a decision of yours. Then automatically you will love your work. You will start loving your work. If you hate everything else, then you need something to live. So you will automatically have no other options but to start loving your work. Not just do your work just because you have to do something big. It's not that doesn't work. Compulsion doesn't work. No, I have to do something big, so let me do something big. It's not as simple as that, right? That's what I believe. So the sacrifice is also a big part. Not just hard work, not just dedication into your field, but sacrifice of all other fields or other activities. So yeah, this brings us to level 3. Level 3 sacrifices. Level 3 conflicts. So level 1 was conflict of you with yourself. Level 2 was conflict of you with other people, other humans. Level 3 is conflict of you with the universe. Now this is the ultimate conflict. So yeah, at the basic level, at the planetary level, level 3 conflict means climate change. We are cutting down trees, we are increasing pollution, global warming, climate change. This is because there is some conflict going on between nature and us. We are not really at peace with nature, and this is affecting us, and this will probably affect us more in the future, the way global temperature is rising and everything, the sea level is rising and everything. So this is at the planetary level. This is level 3 conflict between us and the universe and the surroundings, like not the surrounding people. That was level 2, us and nature. And level 3 conflict at the universal level or at the more fundamental level is the theoretical riddles, quantum mechanics and gravity. Nobody has been able to unify these two theories. They're like at the foundational level we understand very little. We have make a lot of claims in physics, but most of them are based on ad hoc assumptions or kind of axioms. We have no evidence. We don't know what happened at the Big Bang. We have no theory that can tell us that yet. We don't even know whether there should exist a theory that can unify gravity with quantum mechanics. We don't even know that. We hope there is, and based on our hope, we are doing so much work in quantum gravity and unification. But yeah, that's that. So we understand very little, and that's because you can think of it as a conflict between the fundamental nature of reality, between the universe and you. By you, I mean all the physicists. Yeah. But to be able to address the level 3 conflicts, you need full focus. Distractions will not work. So for that, you have to fully resolve level 1 and level 2 conflicts. No distractions. You hate all other activities, and you have no other conflicts going on with other human, and most importantly, you don't have any conflict with yourself as well. So once you are at that level, no level 1, level 2 conflicts, then you can move to level 3 level. You can move to the level of you can move to level 3. That's what I mean. So yeah, I've given this question a lot of thinking actually, and yeah, of course, from the practical point of view, thinking about the fundamental nature of reality will not do you any good. It will not make you write a paper that is worthy of publication in the journals. It will not help you in your career if you're in academia. And yeah, since you cannot, it's very difficult to propose an experiment that can test this kind of idea. So it's not even scientific. It's not falsifiable at least. So if that is your definition for being scientific, then it's not scientific. Yeah, and the best is it can give you some intellectual satisfaction. But I think it's still important to think about this, because after all, at the end of the day, we are here for 70 years, 80 years. What's the point if we don't try to understand the ultimate nature of reality? What's the point of publishing papers, having a good faculty position, having a good researcher position, having a lot of grants, and even getting a lot of international recognition as a very good scientist? What's the point if you're not even trying to think about the ultimate questions? Just think for the sake of thinking, not for results always, not for any definite results that you can publish in a paper. And all of this thinking has led me to form the conclusion that sometimes I indeed wonder if Einstein was actually wrong, if God does play dice after all. Personally, I believe every physicist would be tempted to believe that no, there is some order in the world. Deep down, there is some determinism, that the universe is not entirely random. That's what we hope is the case. You see, today there is a lot of quantum uncertainty, but we hope there is a deeper theory which will give us a better and more unified picture. That is what we hope. Like Einstein used to say, God does not play dice with the world. But sometimes I wonder, does God, after all, indeed play dice? Was Einstein wrong after all? Because see, I think after some point, I think, yeah, I personally think deep down humans don't have a place in the laws of physics, because the laws of physics are objective. There is no place for subjectivity within the laws of physics. So I think humans don't have a place within the laws of physics. And yeah, of course, now and then you will have a theory from, you will have a computation model, you will have a model, or you will have some simulations which can simulate some particular aspects of the human consciousness very well. That is okay. And there will be some excitement that maybe, okay, finally we are very close to understanding consciousness and all. But I think no, science cannot really understand the ultimate question of consciousness, because you cannot get behind consciousness. You're using consciousness to try to understand consciousness. I think you're getting my point. So I think there will always be that, whatever you call it, there will always be that kind of unknowables, not just unknowns, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It still keeps science kind of interesting, and if I might venture to use the word mystical. Science means the ultimate, this foundational level theoretical science, not the engineering or applied science. That's one thing. And I think the universe, even the laws of physics are not etched in eternity. Whatever we call laws, Einstein's law, Newton's law of gravitation, quantum mechanics. I mean, these are not really laws of physics in the sense that, like I already discussed in one of my previous videos, as far as I can remember, the apple does not fall down because of Newton's law. Newton's law of gravitation only does a good job of describing that behavior. But the apple does not fall because of Newton's law. Newton's law models the behavior. There are many other models. Einstein's general relativity will give you an even more accurate picture. Of course, we don't use general relativity for an apple. It's not required. But in theory it can. There are even recent and more new models about entropic gravity, which says that two bodies come closer because to increase the entropy of the universe. I mean, the point is there are a lot of ways you can model the behavior that we observe in the world around us. The apple does not follow any of these theories. The apple falls down not because of entropic gravity, neither because of Newton's law, neither because of Einstein's law. It falls down because that is the way the universe is. Simply, it's a brute fact. As scientists, as physicists, it's our job to build models, and we will discard the models once we have a new model which does a better job, which can describe the behavior more accurately. That is how science progresses, right? Yeah, that is how science progresses. So we just build models, but the laws of physics are not really laws, because the universe does not behave according to the laws of physics. The laws of physics does not govern the universe. Try to understand this. The universe behaves according to the way it is. The universe evolves spontaneously. That is what I believe. The universe evolves spontaneously on its own. And to describe this behavior, we try to formulate some universal laws that can describe a wide range of behaviors. Till now, we don't have a single law that can describe every aspect of the universe, but we do have some very fundamental laws which can describe a lot of behaviors in a lot of different scales. That is the success of physics. That is the success of science. But that still does not mean the universe follows the laws of physics. The laws of physics are not laws in that sense. Humans follow the law. If we break the law, we will be taken to court. We will be maybe put in jail or something, put in prison or something. But if the universe breaks the laws of physics, I mean, if tomorrow we find some behavior in the universe which cannot be explained by any of our existing theories, what will we do? We cannot put the universe in a prison. We will build a new theory. We have to change the laws. But if today I perform a crime, an obvious crime, the Supreme Court of India will not change the Constitution of India or the laws or the laws. I will be put in prison. But you cannot say the same about the universe. That's why these are not laws of physics, really. We say laws of physics, but the law is kind of not the most accurate term, right? So the point is, I think the universe evolves spontaneously, and it is guided by some optimization principles, but not governed by them. Like the law of increasing entropy, it's probably the most universal law there is, because some laws of quantum mechanics don't apply quantum mechanics and gravity, they are conflicting viewpoints, but the law of increasing entropy, we have not found a violation, and so far as we know, it's a very universal law because it applies everywhere. Entropy increasing, it has been observed in quantum systems, in macroscopic world, in gravitational systems, everywhere we observe entropy increasing, the second law of thermodynamics. And it's a very fundamental, very universal law of physics. But even that is a statistical law. I think I discussed in one of my videos that even that is a statistical law. deep down, if you think about it, it's based on empirical evidence, of course, and it's a very like logical, very valid law. I shouldn't say law, very valid. Let's say, since it's called law, let's say second law of thermodynamics, very valid. It's very valid, but you cannot theoretically derive it. There is experimental evidence. You can try to understand it, and the statistical mechanical viewpoint, that is kind of statistical. We can explain why entropy increases in a universe, but that explanation is purely statistical because it's the most likely behavior, but that is not the only behavior. We cannot say this is the only behavior, this is the most likely behavior. So yeah, that is why we observe it, and it's pretty like okay, it sounds logical, but you cannot explain it uniquely. So even this is a statistical law, and it's supposed to be it is one of the most universal law we have. So that's what I'm saying. The universe doesn't really the universe evolves as it is spontaneously, and it is guided by some optimization principles, like entropy should be maximized, energy should be minimized. These are optimization principles, right? But it's only guided by some optimization principles because these are universal. That's why I'm saying guided, but it's not really governed by them. Like I said, even the second law of thermodynamics is a statistical law. Yeah, so I think that's all for this video. I just wanted to discuss these few points with this video. The ever growing, not ever growing maybe, but yeah, this is always there. The conflict between science and scientists. Scientists will settle at, they want a single law describing everything. They want science to follow the law. They want universe to follow those laws. But the universe is just a spontaneous system. Science just models the behavior of the universe. Science cannot describe the universe as it really is. Right, even theoretical physics is kind of a mathematical simulation in that way. Yeah, we don't do theoretical physics on a computer. We do it on pen and paper or with a chalk on a blackboard. We write equations. But those equations are still trying to simulate or model the behavior. Those equations are not really the universe itself, at the physical universe itself. So yeah, I would like to listen to your thoughts about this, and I think I hope you found the video like insightful. Yeah. So okay, I think that's all for this video. Oh, and I forgot. I think some of the machines that you're seeing behind me, are they conscious? I don't know. So they have been listening to whatever I've been saying for the last few minutes, last 27 minutes. Oh my god. I hope this is not the end of me. Goodbye.